Welcome to Panda Tale. I hope you have a great time listening to the story. If you enjoy it, don't forget to give me a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. My previous life's servant girl, Sissy Yu, was the white lotus bearing heavenly fate. Most men were madly infatuated with her beauty. They could even do anything for her. In my previous life, during my coming-of-age ceremony, she secretly seduced my fiancé, stealing the glory that belonged to me. I harbored deep resentment, blinded by jealousy, causing chaos everywhere, leading to a tragic ending. After being reborn, facing her using all my precious painting materials for my coming-of-age ceremony and being praised by everyone, I coldly commanded someone, "Today is cold. Burn this painting to warm everyone up." White Lotus, how clever. I love seeing flowers wither cruelly. Looking back, it all started that early morning. Miss. The dark blue paint you prepared has been secretly used up by Sissy. I awakened from death's shadow. The urgent voice of my coice maid Rosa pulled back my soul. At this moment, I was changing clothes, preparing for the upcoming coming-of-age ceremony. The azure silk dress and the ink painting drawn with dark blue paint painted by my own hands would make me the most radiant lady at the capital's coming-of-age ceremony. This paint, my mother had people search for a long time. Each tael cost 1 to 200 taels of gold, just waiting for my glorious day at the ceremony. According to my previous life's events, I should have hated Sissy to the bone for this, then officially began my crazy revenge journey as a vicious young lady. But all my efforts were useless because my loyal fiancé Ryan Zhong and other infatuated men would come forward to protect her. Ryan pretended to marry me, then framed the Zhong family for colluding with rebels and treason. My father was tortured to death by Lingqi. My mother and I were beheaded at the execution ground. The remaining relatives were exiled to Lingnan, never allowed to return to the capital. Just before the executioner raised his blade, Sissy deliberately came before me to mock and show off. Beside her was my former husband Ryan. She looked down at me, now so miserable and wretched, and spat. "What kind of noble lady are you? Now aren't you just like a dog kneeling at my feet? With your appearance, I wouldn't even want you as a servant to empty chamber pots at night. Die quickly and reunite with your parents." The cold light flashed. The Lily Zhang of my previous life died at the execution ground. My father's and my bodies were hung on the city gates for display. Finally, the jailer wrapped us in torn mats and threw us into the mass grave, hastily done. Perhaps even the king of hell didn't want to receive a soul filled with such overwhelming resentment. When I opened my eyes, I had returned to the day of the coming-of-age ceremony. When I woke up again, I secretly calmed myself and sorted through all the memories. Actually, in the dark prison, I had countless times imagined. Taking a deep breath, I leaned close to Rosa and gave her some instructions. Then I adjusted my clothes before the incense burner before going to the main hall. The Zhang Manor's main hall was bustling with people. My father was the Chief Justice, one of the 9 highest officials in court. So all the famous figures in the capital came to my coming-of-age ceremony. Sissy must have known this, which is why she chose today to steal my spotlight. She wanted to show off her talent before my fiancé Ryan, gain praise from the guests here, while secretly seeking a better backing for herself. Sissy wore simple clothes, with a jade hairpin on her head, but with her innocent white lotus face that moved people's hearts, she had already attracted all eyes. Her graceful bearing and slender fingers painting the ink painting, truly talented and beautiful. This young lady paints so beautifully. Such slender fingers like jade. This expensive dark blue paint, it's my first time seeing someone use dark blue to paint. The beauty paints so beautifully. So beautifully. The endless praise for her made me frown. Anyone who didn't know would think today was her coming-of-age ceremony. But I couldn't blame my past self for not seeing people clearly. Her birth mother was the Zhang Manor's wet nurse, with some status in the manor. Thanks to this, she grew up with me from childhood, always wearing a gentle and kind face beside me. I didn't treat her badly either. Who knew the sisterly affection I gave her would make her harbor thoughts of usurping my place? Or perhaps from the beginning, she was a wolf in sheep's clothing, pretending to be innocent and kind for years, making the men around her push me into the fire pit step by step. Since the king of hell won't accept me, then I, Lily Zhang, will become a demon and drag this girl down to hell with me. How bold you are, daring to take Lily's dark blue paint to paint. Under the guidance of the Zhang Manor servants, I stepped forward gracefully. Sunlight shone on my magnificent outfit, gold and silver glittering, soft silk draped over my collar adorned with a large jade. I deliberately stood next to her, wanting all the guests to see clearly who was the real noble lady. Elegance and simplicity are two completely different concepts. My gaze swept over the surrounding guests without looking at her. My voice was calm. Cece, you're just a first-class maid in the Zhang Manor, a servant who dares to secretly steal the master's paint. According to court law, you must compensate 10 times the original value and receive 100 lashes. However, considering you and your mother are both servants in the Zhang Manor, I'll reduce your punishment. You'll be demoted to a class rough maid. Additionally, for not greeting your master and showing disrespect to your superior, I'll dock 1 month's salary. I calmly punished her, my expression showing neither joy nor sorrow. Even if any guest felt it was inappropriate, my words were reasonable and lawful, with laws as evidence, not like seeking revenge. My handling was no different from how people here handle trivial matters in their own manners. Even if they felt sorry for her, they had no reason to defend a maid from someone else's household. Hearing this, she trembled all over, tears rolling down her cheeks like pure blossoms in the rain. Her soft form swayed weakly as if about to fall. She bit her lip and knelt before me, bowing as if enduring heaven's injustice, but never opened her mouth to say words of admission or apology. I knew she was waiting for her flower, protecting messenger to appear. Lily, what are you doing? From the crowd, a young master in blue robes pushed through, his face angry as he approached. He was my fiancé Ryan. He quickly stepped forward to help the kneeling girl stand up. After they both stood steady, he began loudly criticizing me. Lily, she just used a little of your paint. Why must you be so harsh with her? Our ancestors valued literature and righteousness. Her learning to paint only adds to her refined bearing. Besides, you know nothing about calligraphy and art. Giving you such good dark blue paint is just a waste anyway. If you continue being so domineering and vicious, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to marry into the Zhang family as a wife. Ryan's words were not polite at all. They could even be considered heavy insults. My heart didn't ripple at all because I had heard these words once in my previous life. Looking back, I truly had been blinded by greed, blindly trusting that Ryan was a good person. Knowing nothing about calligraphy, domineering and vicious, these were extremely serious accusations for an unmarried lady. It was no different from deliberately ruining my reputation. In my previous life, I was devoted to Ryan. To maintain my image in his heart, I didn't punish Cece. I let this matter go lightly. Unexpectedly, seeing me as weak, Cece became even more rampant from then on. Looking at the two standing facing me, I smiled faintly. Since Ryan dared to speak up, I, Lily Zhang, must respond fully. I spoke without holding back, stabbing straight at the hidden weakness deep in Ryan's heart. I thought who was playing hero saving beauty. Turns out it's just the illegitimate third young master of the Zhang family, Ryan Zhang. Indeed, legitimate and illegitimate sons have different statuses. Could it be that third young master Zhang is so used to being a servant at home that today he ran to my Zhang manor to defend a maid? Could it be that third young master Zhang's mother is also just a concubine? Is this sympathy for each other? As soon as I finished speaking, all eyes turned to me. People began whispering and discussing, with complex looks continuously appraising Ryan, an illegitimate son born of a lowly concubine daring to set foot in the Zhang manor. Pass my order to the servants to drag him out, ban him from ever entering the Zhang manor. Ryan was stunned by my words. In my previous life, Lily was always respectful and obedient to him. I cherished and treasured him like a precious treasure. I would never dare say such insulting words. Before he could react, he was already being dragged out of the Zhang manor by servants. I picked up the landscape painting Sissy had drawn with dark blue paint, not even bothering to look at it once, my tone contemptuous as I ordered the servants. Someone. It's cold today. Take this painting and burn it to warm everyone up. The fire in the charcoal brazier before me blazed fiercely, making my eyes sting. I held the painting and threw it straight into the brazier. The fire blazed even more fiercely. The wooden box containing the dark blue paint was also thrown in to burn. I took the handkerchief the maid beside me offered, wiped my hands, then threw it into the furnace too. Anything she had used, I found dirty. Burn it all. Also, don't let her continue standing here making others laugh at us. Drag her down to change into third-class servant clothes. The maids in the manor who were somewhat close to her, following my orders, only stepped forward using their eyes to signal the girl to leave on her own, rather than actually dragging her. Yet she still just stood there motionless. It seemed she was determined to resist me to the end. Seeing this, the maids had no choice but to set aside their past feelings and step forward to pull her. Unexpectedly, she shook off their hands and walked straight up to question me. Miss Zhang, I only borrowed a little of your paint. Why did you humiliate me and young Master Zhong like this today? If Miss is truly angry, just deduct from my salary. There's no need to abuse your power and bully others. Although I, Sissy, am just a maid who can be beaten and scolded at will in the Zhang manor, I also have backbone. After speaking, Sissy's eyes brimmed with tears, her delicate face flushed red, just like those brave ladies unafraid of power in stories. Anyone who looked would have to praise her as a proud and independent white lotus. Unfortunately, I loved nothing more than cruelly breaking flowers. I smiled and shook my head, mocking her naivety. Then any thief could say they were just borrowing the owner's things temporarily. No matter how you argue, stealing is stealing. Theft, just like your identity. Lowly is still lowly. Now the master has given you face but you don't know what's good for you. Then change your clothes right here. I looked at the two maids beside Sissy, my voice low. Do it. I don't want to say it a second time. The two maids no longer hesitated or cared, quickly stepping forward to tear Sissy's clothes. In an instant, the three struggled and pushed, becoming a tangled mess. Stop. Stop. I frowned at the voice, secretly cursing that this white lotus indeed had many flower-protecting messengers. It was my elder brother in name, the Zhang manor adopted son, Ethan Zhang. Did he also like Sissy? A strange feeling rose in my heart. In that moment, I suddenly realized that the Zhang family's tragedy in my previous life might have involved a third party. Ryan, though married to me, as just a son-in-law, couldn't possibly fabricate such complete evidence that father had no chance to appeal to His Majesty, already convicted and imprisoned, unless someone inside the Zhang manor was acting as his accomplice. Thinking further, perhaps someone in the Zhang manor directly accused father to His Majesty, and it was someone with close relations that His Majesty couldn't help but believe. In my previous life, when the house was searched, father, mother and I were imprisoned in adjacent cells in the imperial prison. Only Ethan wasn't imprisoned. At first, I thought this brother was afraid and had fled. I was even happy he had luckily escaped death. Looking back now, clearly my brother was the one who destroyed his family for righteousness and came forward to accuse. Why didn't he just want to win this White Lotus's heart? How fitting, both surnamed Bai's White-Eyed. One a white-eyed wolf, one a white lotus. Today I'll conveniently deal with both of them together. Ethan directly knocked down the two maids beside Sissy. Seeing the brazier burn in fiercely before him, he angrily kicked it toward me. Sparks flew everywhere, burning my hand with searing pain. I looked down. A deep burn had appeared, bleeding. Lily Zhang, you're truly shameless. A gentleman should maintain kindness. Have you thrown away all the sage books you've read over the years? Note: maintain kindness means helping others. I'm using my position as elder brother to order you to apologize to Miss Yu immediately. Today is your coming of age ceremony. If you admit your mistake and correct it, you can still be considered reasonable. Seeing me standing still like a statue, ignoring his words, Ethan grew even angrier. As the elder brother, I represent father. Lily, apologize now. The wound on my hand kept bleeding, but Ethan didn't even glance at it. He was someone the Zhang Manor had raised as a young master for over 20 years, someone I had called brother for over 10 years. Yet now he wanted to use his position as elder brother to demand I apologize to a maid on my coming of age ceremony before all the banquet guests, all to uphold so-called justice for the woman he loved. Looking down at the blood spreading on the floor like plum blossoms, my heart suddenly turned to stone. I used my wide sleeve to quickly wipe the blood from my hand, my gaze cold. Who do you think you are? Just an adopted son of the Zhang Manor. I call you elder brother to give you face. Don't think you're really the eldest young master. Without the Zhang Manor, you'd probably still be begging in some corner. Yet you dare put on airs with this young lady. He had disregarded our foster relationship for her, so don't blame me for trampling him underfoot. Ethan's face turned deathly pale, choked speechless by my words. He frowned, silently confronting me while shielding the girl behind him. She, emboldened by his protection, suddenly found courage. From behind Ethan, she poked her head out to argue with me. Miss Zhang. Young Master Jiang is registered in the family genealogy, officially the Zhang family's son, the Zhang Manor's young master. Miss, don't you understand the principle of sibling harmony? Though I, Cece, am of lowly status, I've also read books and understand principles. Such obvious principles as sibling harmony and mutual respect, I understand too. Sibling harmony means brothers being harmonious, affectionate, and mutually respectful. Her words seemed to awaken Ethan, his face showed smugness. Lily, whether you accept it or not, I'm registered in the Zhang family genealogy. I am your elder brother. You must obey me. Someone. Today's ceremony has tired the young miss. Quickly take Miss Zhang back to her room to rest. The servants in the courtyard, seeing him step forward, used force to grab my arm. Though maids beside me tried to stop him, I was still dragged and pulled. Even my hairpin came loose, looking utterly defeated. My miserable state was no different from hers earlier. Seeing my defeat, the girl hiding behind Ethan couldn't suppress her gloating, secretly mocking me. I was so angry my temples throbbed. In the struggle, my strength gradually faded. Just as I was about to be dragged away, a stern voice came from the manor entrance. Ethan. It was two prisoners' voice. Indeed, Rosa hadn't failed my expectations. To prevent her from turning my coming of age ceremony into an uncontrollable situation, before I came to the main hall, I had sent Rosa to notify father at the fastest speed to return and save his wronged daughter. I was the Zhang Manor's only daughter. From childhood, my parents had loved and doted on me boundlessly. Years ago, worried that after they aged and weakened, no one would protect me, my parents decided to adopt Ethan. Who knew they'd raise a white-eyed wolf with a dark heart, ungrateful and treacherous. As for that Ryan Zhong, in my previous life when he married me, father worried I'd suffer marrying an illegitimate son of low status, so he did everything to support him. Right after he climbed to a high position, the first thing he did was exterminate my entire family. Without an illegitimate son like him, how could he have stirred up such a huge storm? Compared to Ryan's betrayal, Ethan's ingratitude as an adopted son was even more infuriating. Fortunately, I had carefully prepared, ordering Rosa to seize the opportunity to notify father to quickly return home. Otherwise, today I really would have become the most humiliated young lady at a coming-of-age ceremony in the capital. The young man dragging me heard father's voice and hurriedly let me go. Father, though his temples were graying, still walked firmly straight toward me. Some lower-ranking colleagues beside him were bowing to father, but father didn't bother responding. His worried gaze swept over me repeatedly. When he saw my hand bleeding non-stop, father's expression suddenly changed. He delivered a heavy slap to Ethan standing behind me. The loud slap knocked him to the ground. Father still wasn't satisfied, stepping forward to slap 2 more times. Smack, smack. Not until Ethan's mouth was bleeding did he stop. Take him to the ancestral hall. Make him kneel for 3 days without food or water. Only now did Sissy behind him fearfully kneel, trembling on the ground, no longer showing any of her earlier arrogance. Dragging Ethan away, though Sissy was a woman in the manor and father couldn't directly act, he just glanced to signal my mother behind him. Father then hurriedly made small talk with the guests and colleagues surrounding us. After all, this was my coming-of-age ceremony. Basic etiquette had to be maintained. The ceremony had to continue. Everyone followed father and dispersed, leaving only Sissy kneeling and trembling on the ground. Mother, seeing my ghastly wound, though usually dignified, was now so angry she kicked Sissy. Sissy hit the table and immediately fainted. This table had been deliberately moved here for her to show off her literary talents and pate before me. Instant karma. Stirring up trouble, overstepping boundaries. She's just a wet nurse's daughter without a slave contract. Throw her out of the Zhang Manor. She's not allowed to take anything. As for wet nurse Yu, she has signed a slave contract. Considering her many years of service, punish her to do rough work in the warehouse as a laborer. Send someone to watch her. Seeing the lady arrive, Rosa quickly stepward to report. Fortunately, the lady came. Otherwise, Miss would have suffered injustice. This maid Sissy has disrespected Miss since childhood. In the past, all of Miss's good things, she would act pitiful and wronged to demand Miss give her a share. That shameless third young master Zhong also joined in. Plus Miss values past friendships and dotes on her to the point she doesn't know her place. Last month, the agate jade the lady specially brought back from the western regions was also taken by her to wear. Servants acting like this while Miss truly becomes more and more lawless. The mistress must advise Miss not to keep being soft-hearted with these people. Mother nodded, glancing at the unconscious Sissy, responding to Rosa's words. You're right. But looking at today's attitude from your Miss, I'm afraid she won't be soft-hearted anymore. Search everything in her room thoroughly, bring everything to the warehouse. Get 2 more people to search completely before throwing her out. The Zhang Manor's things, whether thrown away or burned, cannot be taken by someone like Sissy, not even a little bit. After handling everything, Mother's mood gradually calmed. Mother turned and carefully lifted my wound, gently blowing on it. The warm breath softly glided over, making me ticklish, pulling my hand back. Just as I raised my head, I saw Mother's eyes brimming with tears. Suddenly I remembered the last time I saw Mother cry was the day Father was tortured and executed. Though this coming-of-age ceremony lacked the dark blue paint, the love my parents had for me was no less precious than that paint. Please have Dr. Zhu examine Lily's wound. Mother instructed him to carefully examine it. This physician was someone the Zhu Manor often invited. Whenever anyone in the manor was sick, he would diagnose them. He was considered half an elder who watched me grow up. I couldn't help pulling my hand back in pain. He gripped my hand tightly, not loosening at all, even increasing the pressure. The pain made me break out in cold sweat. I couldn't help speaking up. Let go. I told you to let go. Only then did the doctor release my hand. I glanced down, my wrist had turned red in a circle, showing how strong his grip was. Not only did the wound not feel better from the herbal medicine, it felt even more burning. Doctor, why does my wound hurt more and more? I frowned and asked. Sweat on my forehead kept rolling down. Seeing this, Mother also became worried. That's right, doctor. Look at how much my Lily is sweating. Her complexion. His expression slightly changed, then he showed a very light smile to reassure us. Lady Zhang and Miss Zhang need not worry. It's very normal for burns to cause stinging sensations. Persevere with daily herbal applications and it will gradually improve. Just endure a bit more pain and it will heal. Just be patient for a few days. The pain from the wound grew increasingly intense. My lips turned pale without a trace of color. Looking at his always smiling, unconcerned face, I felt dizzy. I raised my hand to order the maid, quickly escort him out. After seeing the physician off, I flung away the medicine on my hand. The pain suddenly decreased significantly. Mother, seeing this, quickly came forward to support my shoulder, gently advising, Lily, Mother knows you must be in terrible pain. But he said you must apply medicine daily to ensure no scarring. Lily, be good, endure a little. Mother will call him back to apply fresh medicine for you. I gripped Mother's hand, silently stopping her from leaving. After taking several deep breaths, my strength gradually returned before I could speak. If it's really as he says, applying medicine daily, I'm afraid even my life would medicate it away. Mother, please secretly invite a new doctor from outside for me. Mother turned to look at me. What do you mean? I gained a bit of strength and spoke clearly. If I remember correctly, this doctor was recommended to our manor by wet nurse Yu. He wants to harm me for a reason. Most importantly, before dying, I had seen the willow leaf heart-shaped sachet on Ryan. This physician coincidentally also wore one. Apart from different materials, the embroidery was exactly identical. Who its owner is goes without saying. Letty, this ointment contains a small amount of soul-severing herb. Soul-severing herb. Mother stood up from her chair in shock, quickly grabbing his sleeve and beginning to interrogate. Then, what about our daughter? She already applied the medicine for a while. Will there be any effects? Frightened by Mother, he was startled. Laddie, no need to panic so much. Miss only applied it once, the dosage isn't much, so there's nothing to worry about. Just use clean water to wash off the remaining ointment on the wound. That's all. This soul-severing herb is an anesthetic affecting the nerves. Previously, people often made it into medicinal soup for patients to drink to reduce pain, but it shouldn't be used externally. If such medicine is applied to wounds daily, gradually it will cause the patient's mouth to twist, eyes to slant, and gradual paralysis. After sending Dr. Zhang away, I carefully washed the wound in a basin of water. Mother handed me a clean handkerchief and said, "These mother and daughter you are truly venomous. Lily, don't be afraid. I'll immediately tell your father to report that physician's crimes to the magistrate. Then we'll sell wet nurse you away. Mother, don't be angry. Don't rush. Keep him. There are uses for him. Someone who originally practiced medicine to save people but harms patients to please his sweetheart. This shows he's not a good person. But what would happen if such a person discovered he was betrayed by his beloved? He is certainly a very sharp knife. But if Sissy isn't careful, she could easily wound herself all over." Just as I was deep in thought, Rosa's voice came from outside. "Miss, Rosa has important matters to report." I responded. Rosa entered and bowed. "Miss, when this servant just went out to buy things, I heard rumors spreading in the capital. They say the Zhang Manor's eldest miss is arrogant and overbearing. During her coming-of-age ceremony, she publicly humiliated her elder brother and abused servants, even destroying others' reputations. Where did these rumors come from? All nonsense." I raised my hand to comfort Mother's mood, ordering Rosa to invite Father. Where else could the rumors come from? Sissy alone certainly didn't have such great ability. Ryan was just a minor illegitimate son at this time. The only one who could help Sissy stir up trouble was Ethan, who had just been released. Besides, wet nurse Yu has been restless lately. Rosa continued. I looked up with an Nothing surprising. After all, her daughter was expelled from the Zhang Manor. If she as a mother felt no resentment, that would be the time. She's probably plotting something bad in some corner now. Recently she's been closely involved with the eldest young master, even making him leave the manor more often. When going to shops, she has servants from the courtyard guard outside the door, sneaking around. Isn't this colluding with others to take revenge for her precious daughter? During the coming-of-age ceremony, he lectured me about etiquette and law, but when it's his turn, he uses such despicable methods. It seems kneeling in the ancestral hall as punishment isn't enough to awaken this person. Tell Father to have someone interrogate the servant beside Ethan. Remember to choose someone from the Ministry of Justice's inner cabinet. Since childhood, I've heard Father say their methods are extremely cruel. I didn't expect we'd need to use them in our own manor today. The next day, The Ministry of Justice's prison guard led me to the firewood storage in the manor. Note: prison guard, assistant official managing prisons and prisoners. Ethan's servant boy Shiding was rolling on the ground, covered in blood. I used a handkerchief to gently lift his face. Turns out he was an acquaintance. During the coming-of-age ceremony, wasn't he one of those who had dragged me? Why were all the other servants sold off cleanly, keeping only him? Ethan pleaded desperately. Father looked at him kneeling for many days, looking haggard. After all, having raised him for so many years, there were still feelings, so he reluctantly agreed. Note: servant dealer, broker for buying and selling. Lord Li, has my father learned about this? The prison guard Li beside me continuously bowed and answered, dare not, dare not. Lord Zhang is reviewing case files from Jiangnan. This lowly one hasn't had time to report. After all, he was an adopted son for many years. My parents had no memories of the previous life. No matter what, the Zhang manor absolutely cannot let Ethan continue staying. But we still had to wait for the evidence before making a decision. Lord Li, heaven wants someone to perish. It first makes them go mad. My parents are soft-hearted. A servant's confession alone isn't enough. We need to catch them red-handed. When it's done, I'll definitely put in a good word with father. That's right. Direct Supervisor Lord Li. Noti Direct Supervisor, Prison Warden Managing Prisoners. Lord Li was obviously overjoyed, bowing repeatedly like a lapdog. Many thanks, Miss Zhang, for your support. 3 days later at the Cho hour as 1:03 a.m. The loud barking of dogs echoed from outside the courtyard gate. The sound of chaotic footsteps and voices gradually grew louder. It seemed Ethan and wet nurse Yu had been caught red-handed. After Rosa draped a fox fur cloak on me, I leisurely walked out. Indeed, the scene before me was extremely chaotic. Wet nurse Yu had been beaten, her face bruised and swollen, lying sprawled on the ground. Her body was splattered with some foul-smelling liquid, something stuffed in her mouth so she could only make woo-woo sounds, unable to speak. On the other side, Ethan wasn't much better. He still held a torch in his hand. It seemed he was afraid I was too cold and wanted to burn down my small courtyard to warm me up. Father, seeing me arrive, gently called my name as if he had made a decision. Lily, come here. I took the torch from Ethan's hand and threw it toward the pile of dry firewood on one side. It had apparently been doused with plenty of wine and oil. The flames shot up high. Fortunately, the surroundings had been watered beforehand, so the fire could only burn high in place. Father, as the Chief Justice, you absolutely cannot have the merciful heart of a woman. Note: woman's heart, referring to women. Lully advises father not to be soft-hearted like a woman. Moreover, this Ethan is someone lacking loyalty, not even worth being a dog's son. Kneel down. The servants dragged the filthy Ethan to the ancestral hall. Inside was packed with the clan's prestigious and virtuous members. Father, as the current Chief Justice, sat in the highest position. On both sides were the Zhang clan elders. The Zhang manor's adopted son Ethan harmed his siblings, had a venomous heart, repaid kindness with enmity. This truly goes against ethics and morality. He is unworthy of being part of the Zhang family. Therefore, remove Ethan's name from the clan genealogy. Father, you can't abandon me. This was all wet nurse Yu's instigation. I was just momentarily confused. Father, please believe me. I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. There is no future anymore. He hugged father's legs, crying miserably. Father glanced to Signavance to drag him out. Right and wrong, you know clearly in your heart. Now you have no right to call me father. Lily is my biological daughter. You were an adopted son. The Zhang manor had the grace of raising you, yet you colluded with outsiders planning to set fire and kill. You repaid kindness with enmity, with a wolf's ambition. Neither the Zhang manor nor the Zhang clan can tolerate someone like you. After speaking, father waved his hand, ordering the servants to throw Ethan out. Seeing father's determined attitude, Ethan stopped pretending. All the resentment in his heart burst out. He pointed at the Zhang manor's plaque, loudly cursing. You confused old man who can't distinguish black from white. This young master doesn't want to stay here anymore. I'm full of talent, why fear having no place to use it? What dog shit, young master. I don't care for it. You think without your nurturing I can't survive. When the servants wielding sticks chased him away, he muttered curses and left. The once gentle eldest young master of the Zhang Manor was just a fake shell hiding his rotten nature. Before his core interests were touched, now that the mask was torn, the rotten, oozing interior was clearly revealed. A dog is still a dog. You can't treat it too well. Over time, it thinks it's the master, thinks itself an important character. Leaving the Zhang Manor, let's see who would still accept him as eldest young master. I heard the curses gradually fade at the manor gate and instructed the servant beside me. Spread rumors throughout the capital that Ethan was removed from the genealogy and expelled from the Zhang Manor. Say he secretly conceived a child with Cici, corrupting the family reputation. Remember to carefully instruct the teahouses, wine shops, and bookstalls along the streets. Secretly conceived, having relations and getting pregnant. Half true, half false news. Whether commoners believe it or not doesn't matter. What matters is that in this pool of gossip, it can't just be me getting splashed with dirt. Also send someone to arrange for a clerk to write a complaint saying Sissy secretly used the Zhang Manor's dark blue paint, demanding compensation of 10 times the value or receive 100 lashes. During the coming of age ceremony, there were many witnesses. Casually invite one as a witness. Conveniently pressure the magistrate for father. The capital prefecture's wet nurse Yu, in the firewood storage, didn't she recently eat plenty of feces water? Throw her in the manor's pond to swim 2 laps and wash clean, then hand her to the Red Pavilion's madam. Tell the madam I'm selling her to give her some face. How can a pure and innocent white lotus have a mother in the Red Pavilion? How could she climb high then? I'm afraid even being a concubine in the Zhong residence wouldn't be qualified. Of course Sitzi could redeem her, but what about the compensation of 10 times the value of that dark blue paint? How much money does she have? Even borrowing everywhere from Ethan, Ryan, and even Dr. Shu wouldn't be enough for both matters. I looked at the distant sky, lost in thought, remembering the day I was escorted to the execution ground. It was also such a gloomy day. Sitzi wouldn't be able to find the money. Wait for the opportunity to get Sitzi's slave contract. I lifted the teacup on the table, lowered my head to take a light sip, patiently listening to the servant report on recent situations. Ethan, having been a noble young master for many years, had long forgotten how to live in hardship. At first, he could still rely on the Zhang Manor's reputation to buy on credit everywhere. But after news spread that he was expelled from the Zhang Manor and even removed from the genealogy, no merchant wanted him owing them anymore. The friends who previously praised him as more talented than others, handsome as Pan An, all avoided him like snakes and scorpions. He suddenly had no way to make a living, forced to sell everything just to get by. But now with his reputation ruined, who would want to buy? Making a living became difficult. As for Sitzi, she was probably worried sick about compensating for the dark blue paint. Ethan probably couldn't lend her money, he couldn't even feed himself. The Zhang family was only 5th-rank officials. Ryan was just a lowly illegitimate son. His salary was even less sufficient. In the end, the only one willing to lend Sissy money was Dr. Shu. A considerable sum, probably all his life savings, poured onto her. Dr. Shu wasn't kind-hearted or self-sacrificing. Perhaps Sissy had promised him considerable benefits. I looked at Sissy's slave contract on the table, unable to smile. What a pity. This young lady about to be mine will have to fly to the Red Pavilion. This paper wasn't originally a slave contract but a work agreement. Sissy borrowed money to redeem her mother. Cleverly, this agreement paper was too large. The work contract portion above had been cut off. The bottom portion remaining was just enough to write a slave contract. This method was exactly what Ryan had used in my previous life to harm my entire family. Now using it on the woman he loved, truly fate's mockery. Find someone to inform Ryan that Sissy was sold to the Red Pavilion. Wait until they confess their feelings to each other, Then call Dr. Shu to let him see clearly what kind of face the woman he spent his entire life savings on really has. Tell the madam to prepare well. Sissy is a beauty. With just one stroke of painting, she amazed so many guests at my coming-of-age ceremony. Many officials and nobles in the capital know of her. If we really let her go, the Red Pavilion would lose a money tree. As I was giving instructions, Rosa gently approached to report that Ryan had been standing at the manor gate for 2 hours waiting to see me, asking if I should chase him away. I shook my head and stood up. I was truly curious what he had left to say to me. I also wanted to personally tell him some good news. As soon as Ryan saw me at the manor gate, he immediately wagged his tail like a dog seeing a bony lily. What happened last time was my fault. Don't be angry anymore. Let's get married in the future. After you marry into the Zhang family, we'll definitely live well. Didn't you always beg me to paint you a picture before? Look, I've finished it. Isn't it beautiful? I glanced at him from head to toe. In the winter cold, he wore thin clothes, shivering from cold, fingertips red, just hoping to see me. It seemed his life in the Zhang family was truly terrible. Before, with me supporting him whatever he lacked, I provided clothes, charcoal, money. Even though he was cold as ice to me daily, I didn't care, still stubbornly devoted and infatuated. Now without me, he knew the bitter cold of the capital's winter wasn't pleasant. I laughed, truly well deserved. Who knew Ryan, seeing me smile, thought I still had lingering feelings for him or was softening toward him. He began acting superior with me again. Now that you're not angry, the winter supplies should be sent to my residence as usual, right? Wait until next year when I'm in a good mood, let your father discuss our marriage. I'm a bit short on money lately. First give me 10,000 taels of silver. I nodded, took out a loose copper coin from my pocket and threw it on the ground. The coin clinked as it rolled toward him. Pick it up, you mangy dog. The insult was too clear, making Ryan shake with anger. He pointed at my nose and began threatening. Today you dare treat me like this. In the future, even if you beg me to marry you, I won't even look at you once. I was too lazy to listen to him continue his delusional dreams. I stopped the maid carrying water behind me, took the basin of water and poured it directly from his head to toe. His wet hair stuck together. The wind blew through, cold penetrating to the bone. All right, stop barking at my door. Your Sitsy has been sold to the Red Pavilion. Aren't you going to be a hero saving beauty? Ryan now looked like a drowned dog, utterly miserable. His thin clothes soaked through became even more freezing cold. He wanted to open his mouth to say something more, but finally hurried away. Looking at his retreating figure, I instructed the servant beside me to go inform Dr.
What surprised me even more was that the person entering was the same physician. His face was fierce without any gentleness, nor any tenderness of lovers. He pinched her chin, forcing her to drink wine, then smeared something on her arm. Looking at her increasingly pale complexion, I guessed this wasn't any good medicinal ingredient. After drinking, he roughly dragged her into the courtesan's room. You rotten woman, deceiving my feelings and cheating my money. I withdrew my gaze, pondering the amount of medicine he had given her to drink and her complexion. I instructed Rosa, 3 days later, go to the magistrate to accuse that physician of poisoning. I'm afraid he'll take revenge on her. That would be too easy for her. Due to pressure from father, the magistrate handled the physician's matter very quickly. They investigated many things big and small, enough to show he was never a good person. Arrest, interrogation, imprisonment, beheading, a series of actions happened quickly. Unexpectedly, at the time of his execution that week, coincidentally Lord Zhang also passed away. Having lost my favor, Ryan's only support was Lord Zhang. As an illegitimate son whose birth mother was just a lowly servant who got pregnant while the main wife was seriously ill and was then promoted to concubine, he almost caused the main wife to die of anger. He wasn't valued himself, and the maternal family had no power. The other 2 young masters were the main wife's legitimate sons who hated him to the bone. When Lord Zhong passed away, they quickly divided everything, leaving Ryan with almost nothing. He was finally quickly expelled from the Zhong residence along with his mother. When passing by the Zhong manor, he still schemed, hoping I would take in their mother and son. But Rosa released several dogs to chase them half a street away. I heard Ryan's shoes even fell off. In the freezing winter, he had to trudge barefoot. This year's snow fell especially thick. I opened free porridge and tea stalls right in front of the Jong Manor's gate. Passers-by could stop for hot tea, and at mealtimes could have some porridge. At this moment, I could only thank the heavens for giving me a chance to live again. I heard the court had opened examinations to select female officials. I hoped I could pass. Compared to relying on the illusory love of men, relying on myself made me feel more secure. In this life, I would live well. Today, while distributing porridge, I met an acquaintance, Ethan. If he hadn't initiated conversation, I truly wouldn't have recognized him. His hair was matted into a clump on his head, clothes so tattered they had no cotton left, wrapped with rope around his body for warmth. His whole body reeked of a nauseating stench. He pushed to the front of the porridge stall to greet me. The stench from him almost made me vomit. He opened his mouth, squinting to reveal yellow teeth. "Lily, it's your brother, it's Ethan." "Sister, let me return to the Jong Manor." "Please let brother return to the Jong Manor. Brother begs you." "Brother knows he was wrong. Sorry, Lily, very sorry." He spoke as if about to cry. I was too lazy to pay him any attention. I threw the ladle to the servant beside me, coldly ordering. This person once stood at the Jong Manor gate declaring, "You think without the Jong Manor raising me I can't survive. In the future when you distribute porridge, remember to be careful not to give him even half a spoonful. Chase him away. Don't allow him to stay at the Jong Manor gate." He seemed to still want to say something more to me, but facing servants holding weapons, he finally slunk away. His figure gradually disappeared in the white snow. When reaching the alley entrance, he staggered 2 steps then fell in the snow, unable to stand up again. When distributing porridge and running the tea stall, I often heard common people gossiping. For example, the constables rusting here with some hot tea were chatting. "Did you hear? Third young Master Jong is dead." "What young master anymore?" "He's dead. What's left?" He and his lowly mother tried hard to beg to return to the Jong family, but how could the first and second young masters spare him? At first they just chased them away. When that didn't work, they beat them until they fainted and lay at the manor gate. The next day when they went to look, both were frozen stiff. Why haven't I heard about any funeral? What funeral? Just dragged to the mass grave and thrown away. What's there to be elaborate about? When winter was almost over and the weather warmed, the dock laborers also came to my place to avoid snow. This time after finishing work, I'll go to the Red Pavilion for entertainment. I heard there's a new girl on the first floor called Mountain Branch. Her looks are quite good. Who told you that? That's old news. That Miss Mountain Branch was indeed beautiful before, but now it's different. After staying on the second floor for years, her beauty faded, body thin. Later her mouth twisted and eyes slanted, no different from an idiot. Nothing interesting. I just want to go see. It's rare to encounter mother and daughter both working at the Red Pavilion. How exciting. Dead. She's dead. When did she die? Just last month. The madam saw her beauty had faded and body was failing. Planned to arrange her to the first floor to receive hard, working guests like us. Like her mother. She refused, colluded with her mother to escape. Her body was already weak, got discovered by the madam and beaten to death. Oh, what a pity. Alright, stop being lazy here. Let's go to the dock. The sky has cleared, spring is almost here. My hand was on Rosa's to board the carriage when I suddenly paused, looking up at the sky. Indeed, the sky had cleared. All the love, hate, pain, and unwillingness from my previous life were all buried in that distant white snow. Once the snow melts, everything will disappear without a trace. Rosa urged me to board the carriage or we'd be late. I nodded in response. Today was the spring equinox. I officially entered the palace to receive the imperial edict. I held the 4th rank position of female assistant, responsible for teaching the princesses, commandery princesses, and county princesses in the palace painting techniques. From a naive and blindly infatuated young lady, Lily matured into a wise and decisive woman. She is no longer a victim but knows how to use others' hands, letting her enemies destroy each other. Her coldness is a lesson learned from the blood and tears of her previous life. Don't lose yourself by being blind in love. Identify those wearing masks through their actions, not their sweet words. Karma always arrives on time. Sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. Instead of entrusting your fate to others, take control of your own life.